Alright guys, we are back, and this time you will see that the thing is fully assembled. The robot arm is fully assembled. Biggest issue with this is that, unfortunately, what's going to happen is that this thing here is the same piece as the other piece, and unfortunately it's not inverted, which means that later on I will show you what happens. But to mount it correctly on the other side, to invert it, you need to mount it this way, which is the opposite way, otherwise it interferes with leg movement. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys real quick what that means, and we'll go through the process step by step. So you want to install this, you want to combine this part to this part first to make it the easiest possible way to set this up, and then connect this part to this one and then install the servo. Otherwise it will be a whole lot more complicated. You could probably still get away with doing this on this first and then connecting it to that, but again, it really depends on how much fiddling you want to do with screwdrivers and all that good stuff. So let's get to it. I'm going to start by connecting this part to this part, and it's exactly the same over there. So we want to make sure that this is twisted in the correct direction, else it will make the process more complicated later, which we don't want. This robot assembly kit is complicated enough as it is. Alright, so then we'll put this screw in here, and what I'd like to do is do this in the very beginning, because sometimes if you do it later on, it's hard to put these in place because they are rather snug. Alright, and sometimes this thing needs to move out of place a little bit. It needs to bend out of place for this to work, and if you try to do it later on and both screws are not in, it probably won't go in at all. Just one of the things that happens a lot when I build machines. So it's good to anticipate these things. Of course, if companies, and I'm not talking about just Chinese companies, I'm talking about all companies these days, they have very bad quality control, and that's because people just keep on cutting middlemen and middle women out of every single job. Alright, so this is a little bit hard. As you can see, it's hard to get your fingers in there. But yeah, because this is a little bit at an angle there. So I might have to do it the opposite way first. Stick this in here. Let's see if it'll go. But yeah, fiddly, right? And usually the best measure of a machine, best measure of any product, is if you give it to a 5-year-old and they don't stomp on it the first chance they get because it's too hard to assemble, then that usually means it's an amazing product. But yeah, this part is something that you're going to have to do as a parent if you're going to help your kids out a little bit. It is not the easiest thing to do, as you can see. Anyway, eventually I'll get this to work. And I guess we're going to have to unscrew it a little bit and then screw it back in. And as you can see, that worked. Alright, well that took a long time, so I'll show you the next part in the next video.